The company who own the boat, the company that we work for, they do not provide a professional guide. So us crew members, as a matter of tradition here on the River Thames, we give a commentary from here to the tower, trying to make the journey a bit more interesting and hopefully enjoyable. Now, as I say, I am not a professional guide, I am just one of the crew. So if I do make any mistakes, please feel free to keep it to yourself. We're travelling downriver, we're travelling with the outgoing tide. The tide is on its way out to the North Sea, and I will explain a bit more about the river and the tide. We're just going to make a quick stop at the Londoneye before we start making our way downriver. So just sit back and relax, and I'll get back to you in a few moments. On the left, at the end of this row of boats here, along the left hand side, see the last one there, the black and white one. It's called the St. Catherine. Any member of the royal family would travel on the River Thames. That's the boat that they used to use. There's a new royal barge now, it's called the Gloriana. As you can see, that one there on the left hand side looks a bit sorry for itself. It looks a bit scruffy and a bit dirty, looks a bit forgotten about. But it does actually still go out, that one there on the left hand side. The royal family give it to Harry when he comes over. That white ship there on the left hand side is the Wellington, a sloop from the New Zealand Navy from the Second World War. Permanently moored here, it's a club for master mariners and retired sea captains. It's called the Temple Gate. It's the boundary that separates the city of Westminster that we are leaving and the city of London that we are about to enter. As we enter the city of London, there on the left hand side, we enter one of the smallest cities in the world. The city of London is just 1 square mile. It's surrounded by Westminster and the suburbs, but the actual city of London is just 1 square mile. The building on the left hand side with the sloping roof and a brown spire is the old City of London School for Boys. Many of this country's leading statesmen were educated in that school, including Lord Ascot and Sir Winston Churchill. They both became Prime Ministers. In the face of the school there are 4 small statues. They are of John Milton, Francis Bacon, William Shakespeare and Sir Isaac Newton, and they were built into the face of the school to inspire the young boys that went to the City of London School, for this country's leading scholars. The building is no longer used as a school. It's now a bank. It belongs to JP Morgan, a big American bank. That's their London head office. The school's moved from that site. This is Blackfriars Bridge, opened in 1869 by Queen Victoria. You get a closer look of those chains hanging on the bridge there. I'm not pointing down on the wall. Wherever you look, you'll see these chains. They're not just on the wall. Wherever you look, you will see them there to save your life. The red painted columns are all that remain from the St Paul's Railway Bridge. This last bridge is the Blackfriars Railway Bridge. On the left hand side, as we pass through the bridges, St Paul's Cathedral, the second St Paul's Cathedral to stand on that site. The first was made of wood. It burned down. Designed by Sir Christopher Wren. Took 35 years to build and opened in 1710. The brown brick building in front of St Paul's Cathedral is the new premises for the City of London School for Boys. Up the bridge ahead of us is the Millennium Footbridge, made famous in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince. In the film, in the movie, the bridge comes under attack, twists and collapses into the river. As we pass under the Millennium Footbridge on the right hand side, the circular white building with a thatch roof is a replica, an exact copy of William Shakespeare's Globe Theatre. Except that now, of course, the women's parts in those plays are played by women. In Shakespearean times, the women's parts would have been played by men because it was immoral for women to work in the theatre. Also, from the Globe Theatre, you get the word box office, which is still used today. A small wooden box would be passed around the audience to collect the entry fee. Once the entry fee had been collected, that small wooden box would be locked away into a room, and the room became known as the box office. This is Southwark Bridge, opened in 1922. The area of Southwark is on our right hand side. Southwark was the red light and entertainment district in Elizabethan London. Much as Soho in the West End is today, it used to be Southwark here on the right. As we pass under we go in there every night and we research the commentaries that we give you. And just to make sure that everything that we tell you is all true and correct, we go in the pub every night just to make sure. It's the only reason, of course, that the Street Railway Bridge. Have a look on the right hand side, the grey painted Winchester wharves that you were thrown in there. You never came out because you couldn't pay your debt. But the name of that prison is the Clink. It's in Clink Street. Clink Street is still there. It's where the old opened in 1275. This is London Bridge, 1973. The fourth London Bridge to stand here. The London Bridge that stood here before this one, it now spans Lake Havasu in Arizona, in the United States. Built for £1 million, taken down stone by stone, shipped to the Arizona desert, where it was re-erected as a tourist attraction. Mr. McCullough, who bought London Bridge and shipped it to America, also bought a red double-decker bus and a black taxi to drive over the bridge in Arizona. On the right-hand side, the Shard, the tallest building in Western Europe, and comprises of offices, apartments and the Shangri-La Hotel. Just recently, will.i.am from the Black Eyed Peas, he bought the penthouse in the Shard for £38 million. At the top of the Shard there's a viewing gallery and it's £30 per person to go to the Shard. On the left hand side, see the building with the green glass dome at the top, right at the top there? That is the Sky Garden, and you can go up there free of charge. Just book online, skygarden.com, book a time and you can go up there for nothing. Further along here on the left hand side, the building behind the trees is Watergate House, headquarters for His Majesty's Customs and Excise. If you're caught trying to smuggle drugs into the country, or if you're caught trying to smuggle too much alcohol into the country and it's taken from you, that building there on the left hand side is where it's all stored. They're supposed to incinerate the drugs and alcohol every year. But we've never seen any smoke come from the building. And they say that the staff Christmas park is in that building, a legendary. On the right hand side, the HMS Belfast, launched in Belfast in Northern Ireland in 1938, was built in the Harland & Wolff shipyard where the ill-fated Titanic was built. Saw action in the Second World War on the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. Last fired its guns in the Korean War in 1951, where it was the flagship for the United Nations. Painted in the North Atlantic camouflage colours from the Second World War. Permanently moored here and belongs to the Imperial War Museum. Beyond Tower Pier, on the left-hand side, the Tower of London. Started during the reign of William the Conqueror in 1078. The oldest part of the Tower of London, which is over 950 years old, the square tower in the centre with the 4 turrets. It's called the White Tower, and it gets its name, the White Tower. During the reign of William the Conqueror, he had the building completely whitewashed to intimidate the locals for the size and the colour of the building to stand out. That's what's called the White Tower. In its time, the Tower of London has been used as a fortress, a prison, a zoo, a mint, an observatory, and it now of course houses and guards the famous Crown Jewels. The bridge ahead of us is Tower Bridge, opened in 1894. Not as old as it actually looks. Tower Bridge is a steel suspension bridge. It's a metal bridge. The Gothic stone towers were built this way to blend in with the Tower of London. The centre part of Tower Bridge opens to let ships to pass through, and each section to the lower span are called bastions, as the French built the seesaw. Only once has the bridge ever failed to open. It was at the opening ceremony in front of the Prince and Princess of France. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we'll shortly be turning the boat round and going into Tower Pier, our first stop on our way downriver. Now, if you have bus tickets, tube tickets, hop-on, hop-off tickets, tickets to return to Westminster from here, you must leave the boat. We are going on to Greenwich. If we're going to Greenwich, remain seated. Greenwich is the next stop. Now also, as I did say, when you join the boat at Westminster, I am not a professional guide. I am just one of the crew, as you probably guessed that by now anyway. And we do the commentaries entirely voluntary to make the journey a bit more interesting and hopefully enjoyable.
Well, folks, we hope you have enjoyed our video about taking an incredible boat tour down the River Thames to see the highlights of London's mighty river. Please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. And as always, happy trails and travels.